Hi, my name's Phil Craig and I'm the leader of the Referendum Party and a co-founder of the Cape Independence Advocacy Group. And I'm making this message primarily for Cape Independence supporters who may well be wondering, where does the outcome of the 2024 national and provincial elections and the events which have followed leave them? So let me start by reassuring you. The dream of Cape Independence is alive and well. Creating a new country was never going to be easy, and there are always going to be challenges along the way. It's how we respond to those challenges which will ultimately determine the success or failure of our cause. And I'm sure we're all familiar with the saying, as one door closes, another door opens. The 2024 elections were a pivotal moment in South Africa's history. The outcome was always going to have a profound effect on our society, and that has undoubtedly been the case. We will not know the full implications for many months and perhaps years to come, and it is a story which will continue to unfold on a daily basis. Firstly, let me congratulate President Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC. Many people said the ANC would never accept the loss of power in South Africa. Not only have the ANC done so, but they've done so with dignity and grace. And we must not underestimate the significance of this. We've now entered the era of coalition government. We must not, however, be distracted by the term government of national unity. The ANC could not form a government without political partners. It was faced with a fractious choice over which partners to choose, and it chose to invite all partners into the government rather than perpetuate internal divisions within the ANC. The GNU is therefore about what is best for the ANC rather than what is best for South Africa, and it's a decision which may come to haunt them. I would also like to congratulate John Steenhuisen, Helen Zille and the DA. They've secured a significant foothold in national government, and in the GNU negotiations they've already been able to steer the ANC off the rocks by successfully creating parameters around inclusion, representation and decision making. South Africa is undoubtedly better off with the DA forming at least part of the national government. The effect of these developments has had a tangibly positive effect on the mood of the nation. My team and I have always been motivated by a desire to create a better life and a viable long-term future for our families and for the families of others. We therefore welcome the formation of the GNU and hope that it can indeed turn South Africa around and solve the numerous problems which so unnecessarily plague our nation. But it's also important that we remain realistic. The 2024 elections have not changed the fundamental realities of our society. The DA have not gained their foothold in government because the South African electorate recognised how much better the DA government in the Western Cape performed than the ANC government in South Africa, and as a result switched their votes to the ANC. They've gained their foothold in government because ANC voters have abandoned the ANC in their droves and instead have voted for Jacob Zuma and Julius Malema. South Africa remains fundamentally divided around ideology and how it wishes to be governed, and the 2024 elections have once again confirmed this divide. In the Western Cape, 53% voted for a DA government, whilst the ANC, MK and EFF got just 28% combined. But outside the Western Cape, just 17% voted for the DA, while 69% of voters voted for the ANC, MK and EFF. And ironically, it's the political leadership of the ANC which is keeping the so-called Doomsday Coalition at bay. Cyril Ramaphosa has had little choice but to work with the DA because any deal with Zuma and Malema would almost certainly seem removed from the leadership of the ANC. For now, he's in control, but the more concessions he makes to the DA, the more perilous his position is likely to become. It's highly unlikely that the GNU will be able to address the key structural issues which have led to South Africa's decline and to turn the country around, ushering in regeneration, shared prosperity and genuine non-racialism. It may be able to arrest our decline, deliver some gains in areas such as economic policy and even the devolution of powers. The Cape Independence Advocacy Group and the Referendum Party will be pursuing a strategy of hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. We will not do anything to actively undermine the GNU, and we hope that it can pull off a miracle and save South Africa, but we don't believe that it will. The people of the Western Cape did not elect this government, just as no national government elected since 1994 has ever been supported by the majority of Western Cape voters. Only Cape independence will allow the people of the Western Cape to choose their own government, and were they able to do so, their circumstances will unquestionably be better off than they are currently. It is also now clear that there are no circumstances under which the DA-led Western Cape government is willing to consult the Western Cape people on Cape independence, regardless of the promises which they've previously made. The Referendum Party attempted to apply direct political pressure on the DA and to force a referendum on Cape independence, but it was unsuccessful. Inevitably, there will be attempts by some to equate the lack of political support for the Referendum Party in the 2024 elections as a lack of support for Cape independence. This is not the case. Polling has repeatedly established that the majority of Western Cape voters support a referendum being held. The Referendum Party was simply unsuccessful in its attempts to get DA voters to vote against their own party to force the referendum. The Referendum Party is only 8 months old. It will learn from the experience and it will continue to fight for a referendum on Cape independence. The Cape Independence Advocacy Group, or CIAG, which was the driving force behind the Referendum Party, has now begun investigating the possibility of holding a privately organised referendum on Cape independence. A private referendum will circumvent any attempts by the DA-led Western Cape government to prevent the Western Cape people expressing their democratic opinion on Cape independence. A similar referendum was held in the Italian province of Veneto in 2014, and as a result, the provincial government there was forced to hold an official referendum after a clear majority voted for independence in the private referendum. The CIAG are already in touch with the organisers of the Veneto referendum, who have offered their assistance. In the meantime, both the CIAG and the Referendum Party will lobby the DA to use their position within the GNU to deliver greater regional autonomy for the Western Cape. The DA have publicly identified this as one of their key objectives, and both organisations welcome this. We thank Cape Independence supporters for their continuing support and are looking forward to this next chapter in our fight. Cape Independence is coming.